Hey everybody, Brian here. In this video I want to show you this car here. This is a 2020 Hyundai Tucson, and this one is what's called an executive model. Just before we get going, if there's information you want on the car, you want to inquire about financing the car, or you want to inquire about the car itself, or you want to inquire about the warranty, or whatever you want to know, call, text, WhatsApp Brian, that's me, 086 843 1945, and I'll be happy to run through information about the car, or financing, or trading in, or whatever you want to do. So this car, we actually used to own it ourselves. It was actually part of our own fleet here in the garage in 2020, and then the private owner bought it from us, and that private owner actually has bought 3 or 4 cars actually, in fairness, over the last couple of years throughout the family. So we know the car very well. It has a full service history with the garage. So a couple of things I just want to show you that I like on these cars. So on these executives in this year, they had a nice skid plate under here, but it matches, which is not standard over here. These have a nice side step. I always like side steps on an SUV. I think it just finishes off the car, kind of makes it look a little bit tougher, I think, and that kind of silver along there matches the silver that's on the wheels. These 2020s, well actually 2019 onwards, they came with this nice chrome grille, which used to be an extra in 16, 17 and 18 where you had to buy it, but then they started putting it on some of these models. And I also like the way you can have the parking light on through here and the daytime running light, so it kind of matches up all the way around. I think that looks really, really sharp. The colour on that car then is the stellar blue, and the interior you'll see is a nice beige interior, so that's really cool looking. We'll have a look at that in a sec. From the rear of the car, there's nice things. So if you look at the rear windows, they are nice privacy glass. I really think the tail lights are funky on these. So if you look at, say, 2018, 17, 16, they have a slightly similar shape, but the interior composition is different. Executives like this then had separated LEDs, so it looks really, really cool when it's lit up at night time. And the other nice thing then on the executive was down here, so they had an exhaust tip here, and again the skid plate along here just to match what you saw on the front of the car. The tow bar, by the way, on that car, previous owner, he always puts tow bars on the cars, and he's got a small dog trailer for breeding dogs, so that is why the tow bar was on it. They're rated for 1.6 tons of towing, but for what the previous owner did, it would have been a lot smaller than that for what he was using it for. Anyway, in terms of the boot size, oops, I may unlock it. One thing about these cars, when you get out, only the driver's door opens. Now you can set it to work differently, but mostly they're set from the factory like that. So in terms of here, this is a mild hybrid. I'll explain that a bit better in a sec. So you have a tyre mobility kit in here. There's a good size boot, and then this tonneau cover comes back over like so, or if you want, you can actually move that cover back into this section here. And the reason you would do that, then, it allows you to recline the seat a little bit further, so it looks like a small amount. That is way more comfortable. If I was traveling long distance, this is way nicer to travel. Now look, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this is fine, but this is nice. The other thing you'll notice on these, see the way they kind of cleverly had this indent along here, so it gives the passenger more room in the rear. This car is good and tidy throughout, so it has USB connector, ventilation in through here. I have an armrest here which I can retract or whatever. The previous owner on this car would have probably done a lot of driving by himself for going to work, and sometimes with say a passenger, which was his wife. His remaining parts of, or people in the family, had their own car, so the back seats probably didn't really see a lot of use. The beige is really nice, and it's kind of black contrasting on the rear of the seats. And one thing actually I saw, he put brighter bulbs in the rear, so they come with a standard kind of creamy sort of whitish halogen light, but he upgraded them into a more bright blue kind of colour, so they actually give a lot more light at night time. Anyway, electric through windows and mirrors over through here, and they're auto folding, so the lights turn off when you turn off the car, and the mirrors fold in when you lock the car, and then they fold out when you unlock the car. The 48 volt badge is just to signify that it's what's called a mild hybrid, not to be confused with a full hybrid. So if you look at like a new Tucson, we'll say like that one there, they come in a full hybrid, which means you can drive partly electric and partly with an engine and partly with a combination. The mild hybrid on these, it's going to power various features in the car and also starting the car as well. So the idea is it's a little bit more fuel efficient and a little bit lower on emissions, and it'll show you the energy flow. So sometimes when you're braking in one of these, you feel it's regenerative braking, where you can feel it slowing down a little bit more than a normal car. And all it's doing then is basically taking the energy from those wheels and putting it back up into a 48 volt battery, and that will power some of those auxiliary functions we talked about. So a little bit of a fuel efficiency improvement and emissions as well. Armrest in here, backwards and forwards, storage, drinks holders, storage, automatic park brake, sport mode if we want on our steering wheel to make it a bit stiffer, or a normal mode, reversing sensors and a reversing camera. So on these ones, the other one had like a higher dash. So what's important in these, this seat is height adjustable. So over here, you'll see on the passenger side, which was a problem on a 16, 17, 18 reg Tucson that didn't have a height adjustable passenger seat. So they become height adjustable on that. Driver seat, obviously, as you'd imagine, is the exact same. Driver seat actually gets lumbar support to harden up the lower part of the seat for the driver as well. But anyway, they lowered the dash, so the passenger was getting much better visibility outwards, and then they put this floating dash in through here as well, so better visibility overall, but still with something in your eye line for the camera. This is going to work for things like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, for Google Maps and Spotify and all that kind of stuff as well. Dual zone climate, so different temperature for the driver versus the passenger. Seats are heated down through there. This is a wireless charging pad, so you can place your phone there and it'll charge, or USB there if you want as well. And to be fair, looking at the surfaces, they're all in nice condition. This is trip information, average speed and fuel efficiency and all that kind of stuff, tire pressures, and then over here controls for Bluetooth and radio. Lights are automated in through here. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll go for a quick drive in the car to see what you think. This car drives like a normal diesel, so it's a mild hybrid, but you do nothing any different. You put diesel in it, you treat it like a normal car, like it's a manual gearbox. There's nothing that you do that's any different. The mild hybrid section is completely passive, and it's only powering some auxiliary functions in the car, auxiliary functions which are electrics and things like that, and how the car starts. So you don't do anything any different. These are 115 horsepower, 1.6 diesel engine. Good power, but reasonably fuel efficient, so 45-50 miles per gallon, 5.5-6 litres per 100 kilometres, something like that. And the nice thing about these, if you're not used to an SUV, nice, a big reverse camera you see there, but nice elevated driving, big windows, good visibility. It makes a big car, it's not, it makes it nimble and easy to do exactly what I just did, which is, a very fast, say, 3-point turn. Anyway, don't take my word for it. Come drive the car. This example drives really nice. It is a full service history car with our garage. So the drive good. To be fair, the Tucson is an excellent all-rounder. Pretty much the best-selling SUV in Ireland it came out in 2016, so almost every year it was top of the sales ratings anyway. So they do a lot for a lot of people. They look good, they drive good, they have good levels of equipment, they have long warranties, they resell well. So it's just one of those kind of all-round types of vehicles that caters for a lot of people's needs. Anyway, if you want information on the car, 086 843 1945. Brian is my name. Call, text, WhatsApp. I'll be happy to run through everything. And we are Fitzpatrick's Garage, a family-run business in operation for 70 years. So hopefully the car is of interest. Thanks for watching.